Hey everyone, welcome back to Panasonic Live at CES 2012. It is not the end of the day yet. It is day one of CES. We're having so much fun. And we're going to continue talking about camcorders. We've got David Briganti, Fred Fishkin, and Will Crockett about the award-winning Lumix line of digital cameras. David is the Senior Product Manager of Imaging at Panasonic. Will is a professional photographer and a leading expert on photo technology. And Fred is the host of Boot Camp Report, a syndicated radio report on computers. That's the new type of computer and technology. He's also won the Edward R. Murrow Award for Investigative Reporting. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
You can join the conversation by tweeting your questions with the hashtag PanasonicCES or head on over to Panasonic.com/CES. It's super simple. And type your questions in. We are trying to get them on the phone here, and we'll take them as much as possible. So we're going to talk about camcorders. Obviously, that's a huge topic. So we're going to try and drill it down. First of all, I want to just explain a little bit. You actually are contracted with Panasonic to test products, correct?
Exactly. I've been a pro photographer for a little over 30 years, and I'm fascinated with where photography is going, particularly that hybridization of still photo and video, which of course is one of the categories that Panasonic's pretty much a global leader in.
Okay. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how you test in a little bit, but first of all, mirrorless cameras.
Right.
A lot of people might not actually be familiar with that, so let's describe what it is and what it means for the consumer.
Dave, what's the best way to describe mirrorless?
So basically the way to describe mirrorless is we've taken a traditional SLR form factor, which has a mirror inside, and when you push the little shutter button on top, that mirror clicks up, and it allows the photo to hit the sensor and that image gets captured. So what we've done is we've removed that mirror assembly, which allows us to get the camera to be much smaller from an overall thickness perspective. So, and it allows it to work more like a point-and-shoot camera, where you can compose your image or your video on the LCD on the back of the camera. So I think people are very comfortable with composing their images on their smartphones or their point-and-shoot cameras. So we've taken all those best features and that simplicity and put it into a camera that's got a really big sensor to capture great low-light images and great video.
And so it's faster as well, right? I mean,
it is faster.
It speeds up the entire process of the picture-taking experience.
Exactly. The speeds are comparable to a typical SLR today. Those big cameras you see on the sidelines of the sporting events, the speeds are comparable.
The one that fell on the, did you see that?
I did not see that, but I'm sure you got to tell me that story.
Player.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, at the college game.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so basically that's really the idea behind mirrorless. We're calling it compact system. But basically, it's to take this camera that has all the power of a big SLR and put it in a really small form factor to make it a lot easier to carry and a lot easier to use.
And so, Will, you've actually tested these things in depth.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, on David's point, one of the things that I'm really excited about with the mirrorless or compact system, no matter what you want to call it, is the fact that you're talking about a purely electronic viewfinder. There are no more optical viewfinders in this category of cameras. For me, as a creative professional, that means when I set it to black and white or to sepia tone, I'm seeing, even when I look through the eyepiece, that black and white image. Where when I'm using my big full-size DSLRs, I'm still looking through an optical viewfinder. So when I crank up color or saturation, or I switch over to one of the black and white modes, I'm not creating that way. I'm creating in real life and then assuming that the camera's going to capture it that way. So the fact that the mirrorless compact system camera is smaller, lighter, easier to use is great, but the real plus is, and what I've discovered in my testing is, the auto functions that are in these cameras work.
If I can
work
chime
better,
in,
yes, definitely.
I think one of the big things for consumers is that it's really astounding to them when they pick up one of these, if they're used to using a point-and-shoot camera, and they pick up one of these, it's the difference in the size of the sensor in the camera. It's much larger than the sensor in a point-and-shoot camera, and the quality is evident right away.
And describe what the sensor means for taking a photo.
Well, I can turn it to you guys, but essentially it's the part of the camera that gathers the light.
Right. The sensor essentially is what captures the light that's coming through the lens.
And so if you're in low light, the bigger the sensor is, the better the picture
quality.
Typically,
not always, but typically, the sensor is what's going to gather that light and create the image that you see on the LCD. So usually the bigger the sensor, the better the light is going to get received into it. More light will be received into it, and you'll be able to get a better picture quality.
All this technical talk, it makes better pictures.
It makes better pictures.
That's it. The better the sensor, the better the picture.
People are up and hung up on the whole megapixel thing.
Megapixels,
and it's not just the megapixel.
It's not megapixel.
That's a very good point, actually, Fred. I mean, we all talk about when a new product comes out, it has 5 megapixels, it has 8 megapixels, it has 20, 50,000 megapixels. Not really, but you know, that's a big feature that people talk about, but it's not actually what makes the difference. So people should be aware of that.
Right.
So you're finding that people really love it, that they adapt to it really quickly.
There's such a big difference in the quality of the image, especially if you're going to do any cropping, taking a part of the picture and cropping it down to use that part for the image that you're going to print or share online.
So now that we're looking at mirrorless or compact cameras, what is it? How do people decide what is best for them? How do they look at a store overwhelmed? They've got all these options. How can we tell them to move forward and make that decision?
Yeah, tough decision. I like when people determine what they're going to use a camera for first. I call it working backwards. What do you really want to do with it? Not what you say you're going to do with it. Are you really going to take it on vacation? Do you really want to use it to stop kids' action pictures? Do you want to create art that you're going to hang on the wall? Those are all things that allow you to make a little checklist, and then you can make a smart decision, not only on the size and style of camera, but how much you really want to commit as far as money into it too. Because even though they're mirrorless, you're still talking about a substantial investment if you're talking about the body and a couple of lenses, because some of the lenses, of course, first-grade lenses.
Well, we have a social question for you guys. As you know, we are taking your social questions. So chime in on Twitter with the hashtag Panasonic CES. From Ustream, we have, what does 2012 have in store for mirrorless cameras like the Lumix G series?
Oh, that's like made for me. How about it?
Take it away, Will.
The Lumix.
Is Dave from your company, is he chiming in?
Dave from our company?
Yes.
I hope so.
Who you told me about.
Did he say something about you?
No.
Okay, that's what it is. That's what it is. No, probably not. The G series from Panasonic is their Lumix flagship, and it has a variety of different bodies. However, they all take the same variety of lenses, which is really nice. So you can choose one of the larger, more sophisticated bodies, or you can go with one of the sleeker, streamlined, lower cost bodies. So no matter how you get started into the G series, you've got a couple of the classic elements. First is that wonderful seamless blend between still photos and video. And one of the reasons that I'm attracted to the G series, even over other brands of cameras, is the fact that they keep 3 of these little magic buttons right next to each other. In the front, you push one and that takes a still picture. Right behind it, a 1/4 inch, you push another one and it will take the 1080p full HD video.
So you don't have to switch modes completely. You just go back and forth between that.
Exactly. And you don't
That's pretty impressive.
You don't have to take the camera away from yourself. You can feel the difference because tactile response-wise, right? You can determine which one you're on. Then there's a little magic button on top of there, and it's the IA button. That stands for Intelligent Auto, which of course I need all the help with the intelligent that we can get. But that's the oh my gosh button. When you're in an environment and you're taking a picture because you fiddled around with some of the menu items, and all of a sudden you're getting pictures that are blue or green or something, you hit that little button and it automatically takes you into a full, very smart Intelligent Auto that lets you get the picture that you kind of hope that you could get.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to playing with that one as well. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We could talk and talk and talk. I have so many questions for you guys, but we'd like to thank Fred, Will, and David for joining us today. Thanks so much to all of you guys for participating. You're sending in your questions, you're paying attention to what we're saying, and we always appreciate that. We have more great Lumix information coming up next, but we're going to be right back when Live at CES continues.